All right, so today we are going to be using the indication rule and normalization process that we worked through last year, and adapting it to correct incorrect material types on physical DVDs. So, um, from what I remember, it is basically a good idea to start with, um, or at least one of the starting places can be the set of records that you think have inconsistencies. So I happen to use Renton. I couldn't tell you why. I just randomly kind of scrolled down the list. Um, and I created three different sets to show you three different ways that you might look for these records in your own collections, because I created them in different ways. So the first one is a logical set, and I did a physical titles search and then used the item policy. So if we look at this, we'll see the actual search here. So I was like item policy equals, and I chose the four that were obviously DVD from Renton. So if you're like, okay, all of them in current circulation should be under, these policies, um, then you've got them. So we've got 1400. And I was like, okay, but it's entirely possible that there are DVDs under something that doesn't explicitly say DVD in the item policy. And by adding that item policy, we'd end up with items that aren't DVDs. So then I did a second set to kind of show a different option. And this one was a physical titles instead of physical items. I'll have to go back and check that. And I did material type equals visual material and resource type equals projected medium physical. And I got 2000 items. So right away, I know that in all likelihood, there are some DVDs that are not covered by those item policies.
And some of them are video cassettes too.
Right. So then I was like, well, call number. Can I do like a call number search? Because when so then I was trying to do um, I tried a holding search. I tried an item search using the various like call number um, options. And for some reason, every time I put in DVD, it only came back with like two things. So what I ended up doing was going into analytics and creating an itemized set from an analytics report instead. And I can also show you how I ended up doing that analytics report. This one um, ended up being everything in the film location that they have, which is only 600 items. But when I ran the report, I was like, well, it's not everything, but there were examples of ones where the material type was wrong. So open, so I did this one based on physical items, and for criteria, because I wasn't sure if I was going to need to double filter in a different subject area, I made sure to have the key field of MMSID. And then I wanted to just see what the different item policies, material type, locations, uh, you know, bib bib details, material type, resource type from that. So we've got material type bib and material type item. And then the permanent call number for holding details. I limited the location name to films, and the life cycle to active, and got something that I finally felt like, you know, would be an example of something you'd want to clean up. Um, so in all likelihood, depending on how you have DVDs in your collections, you may have to do a variety of these things to capture all of the different things. And my internet's been super slow today, so I apologize. This is gonna take too long. Um, so you can see that we've got permanent call number of DVD attached to a video cassette. We have um, a material type of other on things with a call number of DVD. We've got some nonfiction that don't have DVD at the front. So, but then Matrix is, yeah. Um, so then this is also another thing where you might look at how you're classifying things. Anyway, so we had lots of other, and then finally, oh, there we go. We have a couple books. So we've got an ebook in here. We've got Blu-ray, but it's got, undefined there. And I must have skimmed past the giant one that said, oh, here's what I'll do. Yeah. So we've got some that say DVD, some that say Blu-ray, some, have both with the same MMS ID because obviously they're together. They're going to have the same call number. But what we can kind of see from their location of films is that even though there are titles coming back in the sets that show something as a video cassette, there don't seem to be any video cassettes in this film. Like, I can't know for sure because I can't inspect them myself, but based on the call number, every single one of these records has something that says it's a DVD. So I was like, all right, this is a great example of something that could get cleaned up. And then I was going to basically brain trust going through and writing up the steps. So the original process that we started with was creating the indication rule to create the set of records that needs to be corrected. And so we did that because we started with a set of all titles, I believe, and searched for any with something in the LDR that would indicate it was a computer file. Um, and we did that. So we created the bibliographic based, and we basically looked for, we used the indication rule to create this set of if the LDR in position 6 has M, then true, and it creates the set. So we could write an indication rule to try to figure out different records that maybe have um other, but we only need to fix these. So I didn't think an indication rule was necessarily the right option for this uh, this project. But someone else who's a better cataloger, thoughts on the potential benefits of using an indication rule to create the set?
I if you've got bad data in the bib record to begin with, then no, then your best bet is to start
Yeah,
with Alma Analytics.
that's kind of what I was thinking. And I think with this computer file one, we were able to, we ran this on a set base that was created based on a location that we knew everything in that location would be equipment.
Yeah.
Um, and I don't even know with Renton if officially everything in films is DVD. We know it's not, in fact. Um, but we do know it's probably DVD or Blu-ray. I'm not actually going to run this job on their thing, but
Mhm.
um, yeah.
Yeah, and so with the equipment, that's all in-house cataloging. I'd be really, really loath to start using indication rules and norm rules on cataloged records that people got from WorldCat.
So what can we
Um,
change? Because we can change an item record, right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're
And
hopefully
yeah,
by
you
making the
could do that
set
through
based on
set.
physical item,
Mm-hmm.
we are looking at um, you know, permanent call number being
Mm-hmm.
something that would is local, correct?
Yes. And the permanent call number isn't, I think again, it's not something that you can do anything through or that, sorry. Um, I don't think you can use indication and norm rules
Numerals to
those, but
right.
maybe you can now since the permanent call number is in the holdings record and Ex Libris is starting to let us manipulate holdings records with norm rules and indication rules.
So
Um,
these
I mean,
bib 008 and LDRs
mhm,
are coming from bibliographic details, but there are
right.
holding details and would theoretically those then be what we were aiming to change?
Mm,
Like how would so I guess the question goes back further. How if you have and the other thing is let's say the library did self-catalog these records like a million years ago, how would you clean them up?
the, if they were OCLC records, the way I would clean them up would be I would go and get new OCLC records and overlay them.
And
That's
if
how I would do it, and just not even bother with
with normals.
right. Um, but Nicole brought up, what do you do in a situation where you've got
The vendor
vendor
record.
records like for ebooks or streaming
Mm-hmm.
videos where because of the codes in those records, things aren't things aren't filtering properly and or they're not displaying properly in Primo. Um,
Well, and you
so jump
can
back to the
add
question. So
um
we've got a library that they know they have DVDs,
but
but
the material type or resource type um may be wildly wrong
Okay.
because it may have been in-house cataloged.
Right.
And all of these, I did see, like, I feel like I saw one where it wasn't. Yeah, so we have
Mhm.
this one, and there's really no reason for it to be
Undefined.
undefined.
Yeah.
Um, and but what about this material type, which there's some that's DVD and Blu-ray, which is correct, but then there are others that are, I think they're down here, like
Though there was an other.
other. And that is from,
Let's go take a look at that in Alma.
okay, because that's a material type from physical item details. So let's see what number that was. So yeah, so here's all these others.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, and the call number is DVD, so I'm assuming they're DVD. So if we look at rent, and again, it wasn't even Renton who like asked for
Right,
this.
right.
It was just a random conversation. So I feel bad that I'm like, let's see what's wrong. Um,
What's the Taylor? Can we search by MMS ID? Just pick one at
um,
random.
how do I just want to copy.
Oh, you have to hit the field a bunch of times and then hit Control C a bunch of times. It's not easy to copy analytics.
I was thinking the same thing, Kirsty.
Okay, Man From, what's the 1982 film called Man From? It's Man From, it's famous.
La Mancha?
Maybe.
Man from Uncle. Maybe add the title into the Alma Analytics report.
This is so much more fun. Man from Snowy River, 1982. Yeah, so this is it. Yep, Man From. Okay. Um, so
Notes, VHS tape.
so that
Why did they?
one,
Why is that in a note?
yeah. When the format correctly says video cassette. I mean, and I guess it makes sense to put a public note of like this is a VHS and not a DVD. But couldn't you put the type as video cassette?
Um,
Is that delivered? It may be that if it wasn't delivered, then that's why they put it in a note.
I don't know. Let's choose the DVD and ignore that
the,
one
the
for now.
the item material types are, there's one material type that Ex Libris sets and we can't change what the options are. Is that item? Or is that
This is the material type from physical item details. So if we
physical material type field is a table that's set by Ex Libris and we can't change it. And there is a video cassette material type. So if Renton wanted to, they could change the physical item material type on their video cassettes to say video cassette.
Mm-hmm. And not other.
Yeah.
Let me try Indiana Jones. What's
But
the last
if they
Indiana
really
Jones?
have a DVD and not a VHS tape, then they need to get the actual record for the DVD and not the video cassette.
Right. Difficult to know if we can't. Well, and this is interesting because I thought Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade was. Oh, nope, Temple of Doom. Okay, so this is. Make sure. So we've got this one. So this is under other. And in this search in Primo says DVD feature, no note that it's a video cassette, but then format says video cassette.
Right. If you did a search for action and adventure films and then looked at the available facets to try to filter that, I'm wondering like what shows up in the facets.
Well, so I mean, just with Indiana Jones, because that's all I searched, we've got article, book chapter, video, books.
Okay, so if you limit it by videos,
which is item
policy,
that's their name, but I think that might be coming from
from the
material
bibliographic
type
material.
or resource type, because I don't think Primo differentiates between DVD and VHS. It's just video and streaming video. Because there's no way that John Wick Chapter 4 is a video cassette.
Yep.
So I think the label video comes from visual material projected medium physical.
Yeah, but it just means a video recording of some kind.
So I'm curious then what this stoning movie shows up as, since the resource
Add the
type.
bib title back into that, or add the bib title into the.
Okay, we'll stop doing a treasure hunt. Where is it?
Well, and I think one question to ask at this point too, like if you have a DVD collection and the records are all messed up and it says you have VHS tapes when really you have DVDs, or it says that you have DVDs when really you have VHS tapes, how much is that getting used at this point in time?
Yeah.
Okay,
stoning of Soraya.
Like we're at the point now where we have students who can't watch DVDs because they don't have anything to play the DVD on. So if the collection is that big a mess, maybe it's time to get rid of it.
Yeah, so it's coming up as other because it's undefined. But then the description and the type are Blu-ray. So those must be, so material type can be set locally. And that material type is coming from physical item details or
Yes.
bibliographic details.
And the physical item material type, the options are set by Ex Libris, and we
But
can't.
you can choose from any of the options.
Yeah. So we can choose from any of the options. We can change the descriptions, but we
Mhm.
can't add anything that's not there,
Already.
and we
But
can't
they've
change
added
the code.
quite a few in the last couple years.
Yeah, they have.
Yeah. So yeah. So this is turned into a completely different discussion, and that's
Yeah.
totally fine. Because it just once again kind of highlights the tie between like cataloging, deselection, collection management, electronic resources, and discovery.
Yeah.
Because if someone were looking for this and didn't look at the call number, there's, like it just says articles and other.
Yeah.
And in fact, this says box office. So it's, yeah. Um, yeah, so yeah, I guess it's just one more example of, when you go to try and do a cleanup, is it worth the cleanup, or is it easier and more service forward to just get rid of the item or the record?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the point where I'm at now, honestly.
So this was from the material type of visual material and the resource type of projected medium physical.
And those are coming from
OCLC bib
fields,
records,
those two
presumably.
fields are from the bib record. That's coming from codes in the leader 008, maybe 007.
Wait,
and
can I ask which one you're talking about? Not like the resource type, wasn't that, you're saying that that was coming from the bib?
Yeah, go back into the analytics.
So it's this
The
resource
second
and
material
material type.
the one that says visual material, that's a bibliographic material type, and that is coming from a code in a mark field in the bib record, but I don't remember for sure which one. And then the resource type,
Hold on,
that
I'm going to clean this up.
sorry, we've got bad pollen today and it's making me cough.
Oh, yeah. So these are the bib material and resource type.
Yeah. And those are coming from codes in the mark field or in a mark field. And I would have to double check to see, are these coming from the leader field or are they coming from the 008? And in sometimes they come from an 007, but I could be wrong.
Well, so we can see here this one that's totally wrong. Um, the holding leader
Mhm.
looks the same as
Yeah. Yeah,
the
it's
one
definitely
previous.
not
So it's got to be coming
definitely not
from
coming
the,
from the holding. It's
yeah,
definitely coming from the bib record.
let's do. So this book one has, is that the right? That's the 008, not the leader. So the has an A instead of a G. And that is position 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Um,
Okay, yes, yeah, so that's definitely coming from the leader. Space number 6 has a code for the type of record. A is language material. G is projected medium in the
so
DLC
this
documentation.
may be an example of someone received the DVD and got the wrong OCLC record
Right.
because Highlander's also a book.
Yeah.
And then undefined. So I'm curious where projected medium,
Yeah.
because if you look
Come
at
on.
this one, it's got the G.
Hold on.
I mean, we could pull Highlander, Stoning of Soraya, and something else all into the MDE. And take a look at the fill. Yeah, so we've got, interestingly, we've got this record, which and then we've got
I'll just say that we sometimes put companion
books
guides
next to,
guides next to DVDs or whatever.
Yeah. But
but this is
but
the
you wouldn't have, like,
terrible
even if you
remake.
had a print companion book, you wouldn't want it coded as an ebook, right?
Because this is coded as an ebook.
As a DVD.
Well, it's
Mm-hmm. We
so it's
presume.
got the 300 field, that's the physical description. That's coded as a DVD. But the 336 says no, it's text, which we wouldn't expect to see. And if you click on try the 008, click on the that. sorry, I meant the leader. Click on that field and open form editor. And that type of record
Sorry.
field, that's the code that's saying this record is for a book.
Instead of projected medium.
Right.
Not gonna mess up their thing.
Looking at an OCLC at the record, it is kind of a wacky record to begin with, and I might just find a better record for that.
Yeah, what George says.
Yeah. Let's take a look at the record for this stoning of Soraya, and then you can tell us what you find. I'm gonna release that before I in the OCLC. So we've got Blu-ray right in the title. And this is one that is showing up as other. And that is because the resource type, not the material type, is undefined. So
Yeah,
where
this
is
one, I would say let's open the form editor on both the leader and the 008.
oh,
Wait,
because the leader has the
give us a little bit
G.
more time. Okay, so it says it's projected medium, so that's good. That's right. That's what we expected.
And then it has
Type of visual material. That
so
should
this is
be
not the right
video
list.
recording.
Yeah. So or is it form of item? No.
It's not form of item. Yeah, that type of visual material, that should be video recording. And video recording applies to pneumatic tapes, video cassettes,
Well,
DVDs, Blu-rays.
So the field that actually says type of visual material in which you would choose video recording on ends up relating to projected medium physical for resource type.
Maybe. Give me, I know there's some ex libris documentation about where in the MARC record they're pulling from to.
I do see V's where this is a Z. So that does seem to line up. Because this is Z and everywhere else in that same position of 33 is a V.
Resource type, is that
Here.
the name of the field?
Yes. Bibliographic details, resource type. It must, I mean, so it maps to the 008 position 33. It's too bad no one from Renton is here. Say, yes, please fix this one random record for us. I'm
Can I
not going
ask
to
a
do that.
question? Does the 008 fields change depending on what's in the leader? Or something?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
This is confusing.
And George, did you happen to find this one in OCLC?
Yeah, and again, both of the records
Bad.
looked at, they were imported into OCLC as a part of a batch process, so probably they were not matching good OCLC records when, say, a reclamation project was done, so they were added. And I would probably not use either of those records.
Got it. So that's that one. So if we wanted to find all of the DVDs that are in the main stacks, we would want to use, it seems like the material type was pretty good for visual. That would, for just in Renton's collection, be a start on so yeah, so there's that build on our experience. So that's a goofy one they might want to look at. Oh, computer system operation. I'm guessing that one could be weeded. So then this one has, okay, so we've got projected medium. Oh, let's filter a little more and do.
I mean, what I'm used to
Okay.
seeing is if people are going to have DVDs, they're going to have them all in one location for the most part. And people are going to know, hey, the things in this location are DVDs or CDs or whatever. So usually the easiest way to find problems is to create a
Go
set
by
or on the
location.
analytics by the location that you know is supposed to have the stuff. And then you start looking for things in that location that have what you're not expecting. So things in that location that have an item policy code that's not DVD, or
That's
that have an item
book
material type that's
instead of DVD
but
2 weeks.
like George says, sometimes you know, if you have a book that goes with a DVD or a booklet or something, you'll put that in there too. So you're not going to go changing things willy-nilly either. Like you
Right.
have to check.
Yeah, and I think going by location would normally be the most effective way. I was surprised to see that like they had, location name of Maine. Although there be a sublocation that I'm missing.
And there may be some weird things going on too with permanent location versus temporary location. I don't know that.
I pulled all of
things
the
up sometimes.
I pulled the temp location info in this report and it was all empty.
Oh, cool.
So from chat, just so that we've got it stated as well. The ALMA documentation says projected medium physical as resource type occurs when LDR position 6 equals G and LDR position 7 equals M,
Yeah,
which
so
then sets up the 008.
so whatever is in the resource type field, sorry, Alma behind the scenes has pulled information from both the leader in the bib record and the 008 in the bib record.
And what's interesting is that they've got 8 different potential codes in the 008 for position 33 and 7 different potential codes for position 29 in the 008 and 2 different positions in the LDR, which I'm not good at math, but that seems like a 16 times 7 factorial of different options that they just throw all under projected medium physical.
It makes sense if you know the codes.
Yeah. So if this one, if number 6 is G and 7 is M, then $29 is
And it has to not be.
Yeah,
Has
it's
to
not.
be.
Oh,
Has to
that's the
not be
exclamation point.
microfilm, microfiche, micro opaque,
So it's gotta
braille,
be
online,
certain ones of these
and not certain
and
ones of the other.
not so if it was a film strip, but it was a microfilm strip, then they wouldn't say it was projected medium film physical.
Yeah,
They'd say it was micro
I mean,
film.
you can't have that, but
Why? Let's see. I won't save this. I mean, just let me do it. I'm not gonna save it though, so the error won't come up. Gonna release and not save. There. Okay. All right. Always fascinating. I always learn unexpected things when I come to the group with questions and a potential process. So this indication norm rule process we worked on last year worked as well as it did because these were in-house cataloged records.
yeah, it would work if you were doing cleanup on OCLC records too. But my take as a cataloger
Don't clean.
is if you have an OCLC record in your system and something is wrong with it, either get an updated version of the record or get a different record.
Okay. So cleaning up DVDs, what you can potentially change or clean up would be item policy, obviously, and
Mhm.
potentially holdings information.
Yeah. So you should feel free to batch update. Oops, sorry, I didn't want to turn on my camera. Yeah, so like you batch update the item records, change holding records, but if you really need to make changes to the bib record, go get a new version of the bib record from OCLC.
Okay. And norm rules work on bib records, not item records.
Correct.
And to change a norm rule or change an item record in bulk, is that one of these jobs?
Yeah, it's a update. If you go up to the top and filter the type to information update,
Ah,
change physical item.
information.
Yep.
So if we were to run this job on this set and we wanted to change, no, not temporary item policy, but we could change the holding material type, the item policy.
Yeah. And you want to make sure that you're running this job on a set of physical items, not
Items.
physical titles. If you run the job
Right.
on a set of physical titles, you're going to change every single item attached to those title records.
Ah. Well, and you could also, if you were like, you know what, I don't want to change like quote unquote real record metadata, but you were like, these are definitely all DVDs. You could put public note information in all of them, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did
Uh,
some of this work a couple of years ago when I just got here, and then I got kind of called out, like not people weren't super mad, but because the fulfillment units and rules um were were kind of all over the map, right? So when I started to
Yeah.
change things, they were just behaving differently, and some were looking at item policies and some material types. So I think that's just a caveat, I guess.
yeah, and
Really good
that's
point.
yeah, because obviously these item policies, each one is connected to a location in like a different way. And if suddenly the material type changes, the item policy might not attach correctly or some kind of
No,
other.
the item policy that's something that we assign. The item policy,
Yeah.
we assign that ourselves.
So if you
That's
changed,
not something that gets automatically updated by changing anything else.
so if you were cleaning up everything and changing item policy in teaching and learning collection instead of main stacks, that location might not have that item policy depending on fulfillment units.
Maybe, yeah, like it completely depends on how you set up your fulfillment unit rules. If your fulfillment unit is like, if it's only looking at an item policy and it expects, you know, It expects
That's-
there to be an item policy DVD in the location main, and it has to use both of those things to do the fulfillment rule. Then if you change the DVD item policy, that's going to mess with how things check out.
So let's take a look at something then. You guys can help me. I did the new STEM library for Big Bend, and some of the calculators, for some reason, are not defaulting to end of term as the TOU. And when I look at physical items, and of course now I'm going to have to edit this out of the recording.